Rhythm Tower is a bit too easy. I think we can all agree with that. In July, Hi-Fi Rush was updated with 2 additional modes that were a little bit more challenging, but still pretty easy. I've exhausted both of those modes already. So is it time to uninstall the game and play something else? Probably. But just before that, I thought to myself, there might be a way to make the Rhythm Tower slightly more interesting. In coming up with this challenge, I was inspired, as always, by the wise words of Captain America.
Even if the whole world is telling you to move, it is your duty to plant yourself like a tree, look them in the eye, and say no. You move.
Yeah, way to plant, Ann.
George Michael, listen, why don't you and Plant just wait in the stair car? I'm gonna finish up here with Joe.
What a scare.
But I would not wait in the stair car. I would climb all 60 floors of the Rhythm Tower without moving the left stick. To make sure I don't cheat by accident, I used my controller configuration software to unmap the left stick so it doesn't do anything. Before starting, I used my brain and settled on the following build for Chai. I knew I would be relying a lot on special attacks. Since I would have little control of Chai's positioning, I needed to make sure the attack I relied on could hit enemies in all directions and in as wide a range as possible. My usual choice in Rhythm Tower, Overdrive Slash, is not ideal for this because it only hits enemies in front. Instead, I opted for Cinnamoniac, unlocked by beating the new modes. For my other special attack, I decided to equip Pick Me Up. While I never take damage while playing Hi-Fi Rush, sometimes my little brother will grab the controller and he ends up getting hit, so I need a way to recover that damage when I manage to grab the controller back. In terms of chips, again, knowing the importance of special attacks, I prioritized battery acquisition. I also equipped High Risk, High Return at level 1 to make sure fights ended quickly enough that I don't run out of time. Lastly, the death of the left stick is a formal occasion, and I made sure that all the characters were dressed appropriately. If you like what you see, make sure not to like or subscribe because I am shy and prefer not being noticed by the algorithm. The initial few floors made me think this wasn't a challenge at all. I cleared them out with ease and wondered whether moving the left stick is even all that important. I first failed this challenge when, on the 3rd instance it was time to talk to Corsica, I accidentally dashed past her. With no left stick, there was nothing I could do to turn around to talk to her, and therefore, no way to progress. I was left with no choice but to reset the run. On my 2nd attempt, the easy solution presented itself. Simply fire off a light attack, making Chai move 1 step forward, just close enough to Corsica to allow the prompt to appear. The giant 9-inch nails robot was no issue at all. Rekka was a slight problem. For the most part, her attacks are avoidable by parrying. But then, of course, this happens.
You're going out with the trash.
I powered through that with some energy drinks and carried on only to come face to face with the real problem. Fire enemies started appearing with increasing frequency. If you're not aware, or if you're like me and you forgot, once Chai gets burned, the burn effect is cleared by wiggling the left stick or waiting a few beats. I chugged as many energy drinks as I could to withstand this, but it was simply not enough, and Chai went down to the Firebird for reset number 2. Unfortunate that my little brother was not able to dodge those fire attacks to begin with. I went into attempt number 3 with a valuable lesson in mind. Learned the hard way. Don't get hit by fire. I worked my way back up to the Firebird and easily got my revenge by employing this strategy.
Last bounce, right?
From here, I assumed it would be smooth sailing, and for a while it was. The next puzzle would be Mimosa. I breezed through her first two phases with the expert help of Cinnamon. But as soon as the third phase started, I realized I would need to use my brain once again. Mimosa starts her third phase with a unique special attack that traps you in a dome protected by two orbs. The orbs can be smashed with the help of Peppermint and Macaron. Or at least that would normally be the case. Unfortunately, the orbs are positioned well to the left and right of Chai, and thus entirely unreachable for the purposes of this challenge. I wildly jumped and swung my guitar, watching my health slowly deplete. I quickly came to the conclusion that I had no choice but to accept my fate for reset number 3. Before starting a new run, I decided to do some research. I learned that legally Mimosa is not allowed to use her special attack on you if you do not give permission. There are 2 ways that I found to skip the attack. The simplest way is to be far enough away from Mimosa when she triggers it. But even if you can move the left stick, there is no guarantee that this will work out. I preferred the second option, parry the attack. If done right, the entire attack is cancelled and the fight continues. The timing on the parry is somewhat unintuitive, so I made sure to practice it a couple of times by playing through track 9. When I was confident enough that I could parry the attack consistently, I returned to the rhythm tower and got my revenge on Mimosa. Normal enemies, fire or not, were no longer a threat to me now that I was trained in the art of non-movement. There were just 2 fights worth mentioning from here. As you likely expect, the first of these is Rockford. This one got a little hairy. 2 reasons in particular. First, at the end of Phase 2, Rockford summons a moving wall of lasers. To evade damage, Chai needs to move to a precise spot to fit through the gap in the lasers. Here is what happens when you can't move. The other reason, my own carelessness. But ultimately, the plentiful consumption of energy drinks and a bit of luck got me through.
This is our chance, Chai. Together we can go up against them.
The other fight worth mentioning was Floor 59. The only thing scarier than 1 Firebird, 2 Firebirds. I kept my little brother away from the controller, focused my energy, and struck them both down. That, of course, left only one battle to clear the challenge once and for all. But like I said, there were only 2 fights worth mentioning. This is what happened to Kale. So there it was, the rhythm tower cleared without moving the left stick. Instead of a sense of pride and accomplishment, I felt emptiness. The victory felt hollow because, giving it an honest evaluation, it came far too easily. I failed only thrice, and the first time barely counted. I had almost 20 minutes remaining on the clock. Was this even a challenge? Had I actually made the rhythm tower any more interesting? And what would Captain America think? Did I really follow his advice and plant like a tree? Yes, true, I never touched the left stick. But Chai was zipping around all over the place with dashes and magnet grabs. No. I knew at that moment what I had to do. I went back to my controller configuration software and made 3 additional changes. It was time to get serious. The real challenge begins. No dashing, no grappling, no jumping, no walking. Let's see if things get any more interesting. Okay, too interesting. Clearly, I needed a more consistent way to deal with fire attacks. My experimentation suggested that tanking them was not a viable option. I went back into research mode. By some miracle, a video was uploaded that same day showing exactly how to parry fire attacks. Thank you, kind YouTuber GGP3. The free trial on this AI Witcher voice is about to expire, so I will cover off a few notes before letting the final run speak for itself. First, yes, this was hard enough. I died more times than I could count. The main point of difficulty is reaching the enemies to attack them. You can move forward by attacking. Every ground attack in the game moves Chai forward at least a little bit. The issue is that sometimes forward is not where you want to go. This made parrying even more important. In most cases, parrying an attack will cause Chai to turn in the direction of the attacker. The little flying buckets became even more annoying. Parrying their bombs doesn't cause Chai to change direction. Thankfully, they go down quickly to Peppermint's blaster. In some cases, I resorted to using my keyboard for buttons that were disabled on my controller. Mainly, this was the jump button, which I needed to use to progress to each set of floors with Corsica. Some rhythm sections require you to use the dash button. This is almost cheating, but I considered it to be in the spirit of the challenge. Lastly, Roquefort almost made me think the challenge was impossible. In his human form, he never attempts any attack and appears to perfectly dodge all of Peppermint's blaster shots. To beat him, I had to make sure that when the time came, I had enough battery to summon Cinnamon twice. This is a convenient time to point out that the rules never stated I couldn't buy items. I added a counter to the video showing how many times I chugged an energy drink. I will not be showing the full run because it is long and somewhat boring. Instead, I have selected a sample of interesting floors. But the energy drink counter is always accurate. You might see it jump up a bit on occasion. If you are inclined to attempt this challenge, you may want to use that as a point of comparison to say you did better than me. I have to go do some witching now. Enjoy the run.
I can see that!
Ready for this? All of my strength.
Don't worry about me. We're done. Here's the outside.
Pick me up. No problem, guys.
Go get him, guy. Rosa.
The lights.
Lay off of our way.
This dress is a part of me. You'll never This dress is a part of me. You'll never How about a new girl? Our very own Vandalay side story. The crowd is here for me. Stop it right now. That's my dress for stretching.
Don't be scared, Jai. Don't be scared, Jai. Go get him, Jai. Back off.
Cold?
Don't be scared, Jai.
Peppermint, come on!
Need help?
Adventure ends here.
So let's finish this!
See it coming.
Oh, you little loser! Let's finish this!
Pick me up!
Defect!
Head off the scales.
Not even you can stop this!
Gone too far. Tails, you've gone too far.
Got this!
I'll never forget you.
Let's finish this card.
Give it up.
Finish, Tail.
Back off!
Have a minute. Just get it off. Pick me up. Let's finish this card.
Last down, bye. You've gone too far. Give it up.
Finish, Tail. Just get it off.
See what I am capable of?
Macaroni! You've ruined this company enough. Come on, Corsica!
Can't believe I looked
Up to you! Peppermint!
This isn't just about Bandolin. It's about family.
And this is game over!